All right, guys, it's time for another episode of DWMOD. I know it seemed like forever because we took 1 week off, but you can tell by my voice we're going to struggle through this thing. I was down and out, man, but thank you guys for sticking around. We're coming back. Louis, what do we got on the docket this week? We're going to do some quick catching up on some other things, but okay, we got the Topps Card Company Shady Business. They're following Panini. We'll get into that. Pistons are back in the playoffs, guys. We got Rory's finish at the Masters. They've come out with a brand new line of starting lineups. The Kenner Company, who's not Kenner anymore, but brand new starting lineups are coming out. The nonsense coming out of Boulder, Colorado. WrestleMania's coming up. Nico's overreach. I'm in my Tennessee gear. We got our special guest on the show. Louis, now, come on, let's just get to it, man. Let's do it. Brought to you by Kuttin Loose, guys.
We cutting loose.
Touchdown.
Ready? College football is now B1G versus SEC.
Down. Put.
If you ain't listening to All Right Bet with me and Andy St.Clair, you're throwing away money.
Ready?
Oh, Lions fans drinking that Kool-Aid. Super Bowl. Hey, disagree with me or don't. That's how it works. Yes, that's how it works, my man. Now, Louis, get ready to bring in our special guest for the week because we are talking Tennessee. And when we're talking Tennessee, we know we have to bring in my man, Dunbar Dicks. Dunbar, welcome back to the show.
Woo!
There it is, man. There it is. Now, listen, brother. Hey, first of all, thank you for jumping on to talk some Nico and filling in for Andy.
I need it emotionally.
Yeah, man, we're going to get into it. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. Always with Rocky Top in the background there. You got the fresh lid on. I love the powder blue cap, man. That's a nice one there. Now, before we get into it real quickly, though, let's pay a little bit of homage to something we covered on the show before, Dunbar, and bring you up to speed. I think you're probably aware of it. Listen to the show. Last year or so, we were talking about Alexander Ovechkin breaking Gretzky's record, and a lot of people thought, oh, he's getting older, he might not be able to do it. I was on the other side of that, and a lot of other people were as well. But congratulations. There he is. There's Ovi right there. Now, Ovechkin breaks the record. Man. Now, the cool thing about this was he did it in like the exact same amount of games that Wayne Gretzky did it. You know, that was a really cool aspect of it, I thought, because this wasn't a LeBron James thing where he stuck around 25 years and broke the record. Like the exact amount of games, and he broke a record and the exact amount of games that a lot of people thought was untouchable.
Would you say that hockey, unlike the other major sports, has been able to maintain the comparison integrity between different eras more? Because it hasn't evolved? No,
not at all. It's like any other sport. These guys are so much bigger and faster and stronger. $1 million into their bodies and training. And also the NHL, much like football, they're comparable to football in how they've changed the rules to really benefit the players. But that started during Gretzky's era. I'm talking like in the 80s, they really changed up the rules where they opened up the fighting, where if you touched a superstar, you were going to lose 5 teeth. So those guys got to skate around free and score a lot of goals. And then they corrected in the 90s to, you know, the mid-zone traps and the clutch and grabs where they got rid of the fighting. So everybody was just grabbing the shit out of the superstars and they couldn't get free. And now they've opened it back up again where these guys are skating them free. So, but
I think it's funny.
Point. Closer.
Look, I'm going to say this though, just by pure aesthetics, you couldn't get a more hockey looking dude than Alexander Ovechkin. Like you can't get that dude. You put that photo up. He's like, maybe some missing teeth. You don't know.
Yeah. And the fun thing about it is he is a dude that was all about fun, like the equivalent of like the baseball bat flip. I'm going to use a lot of equivalents to other sports here because not a lot of people are hockey fans, but Ovechkin was like the equivalent to the big time baseball bat flipping with Joey Batista and all that. When those guys really started doing it and it was like a big no, you don't do that. Ovechkin was like that when he broke into the league with the celebrations for the goals. And all the younger kids that he brought to the game, which were like, this is fun, man. And the Canadian announcers, Don Cherry specifically, they hated this guy. They hated this guy for how much fun he was having. And now it's the biggest part of the game. Like he spawned a whole new era of all this stuff. But I want to show you a video real quick here, buddy.
Okay.
This is how Ovechkin gets hyped up for the games. This is how he gets hyped up for the games. This was on the internet. This is like multiple games. Every game. Bands to make her dance. This is every game. Check it out. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with that song, but people think that older folks probably think that that means if music's playing from the band, this lady will dance. No, I'm sure you know what that's all about. This is a song by Jesus. It's a stripper. This is a stripper song.
Yeah. Look, but that being said, it's hard to make this joke. He's dancing like my 2-year-old dances to Baby Shark. Like that is, it's the same.
Yeah. And he loves it, and all the younger guys love that. And of course, this was born out of some team meeting out at some titty bar somewhere, and the song was playing, and now forever it's an inside joke to them. But Ovi's going crazy. Bands are making dance, and I stand by what I said on the show. But I don't know, over a year and a half ago, I not only thought he was going to break the record, I think he's got a legitimate shot to get to 1,000 goals. He's closing in on 900.
He's almost 40.
Yeah, he's going to be 40 next season, but he scored 35 goals the last 3 years in a row.
That's insane.
And
1,000 would be like
forever.
A new benchmark. I don't know if anybody would break that record at that point.
No, it'll be nuts if he gets to 1,000, and I think he very well could. He's not showing any signs of, I don't want to say slowing down because he was a 50-goal guy a couple times or whatever, but 35 goals a year at 37, 38, 39. I think this guy can go another 4 or 5 years of 25 goals.
The Preds would take a 35 goal a year player right now.
He's one of the top scorers for the Capitals, and they're 2 years removed from a cup, and could make another run here. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations to him. And I don't know if you saw Wayne Gretzky showed up to that thing.
That's
class
great.
act. Class act.
That's great.
He showed up and he said,
but it feels like there's integrity around that stat. Like
a lot.
There's all this hand wringing about the Jordan and LeBron stat and who's better. I'm a Jordan guy, but I know I acknowledge LeBron's greatness.
He's great.
Like I don't, I have issues, but I acknowledge his greatness. Like he is one of the top 5 greatest basketball players of all time. Just the longevity of his career, but the stuff with the stats around baseball are a mess, but the NFL too, because they've changed the rules. They made it so much easier to score.
And the game has evolved to unbelievable air raid offenses and things like that. But you're right. This is one of those stats that's this was one that would have easily been on all sports top 5 lists of unbreakable stats. This is never going to be broken, and he's not even going to break it. He's going to shatter it. He's going to shatter it. And Gretzky showed up, like I was saying, and said, hey, Gordie Howe showed up when I broke the record because he said, this is what you do, man. This is not about us. This is about passing the game on to the next generation. And Gretzky was like, that stuck with me, man. And that's where I'm at. And I'm happy for Ovechkin, and I hope he gets to pass it down to somebody else. And I'm like,
and I think it should be a call for everybody to check in on the game, pick a team and follow them. And my wife's a big San Jose Sharks fan, so we'll catch a Sharks game every once in a while. I know.
Not this year.
I'm
120.
I know. I'm a Preds fan. We had a run for a little bit, so everybody should tap in and check the game. Honestly, if you can see that game in person, it's incredible.
This is the time of year everybody's checking in. And yes, Dunbar, you are right. Even watching on TV, it's fascinating. Go to a live hockey game and see if your mind's not blown at how fast these guys are playing. It's phenomenal. Let's touch on the NHL really quickly here. Red Wings out of the playoffs. They kind of controlled their own destiny a few weeks ago, playing the Montreal Canadiens, and if they beat them, they could have closed that gap, won a few games down the stretch. They got their ass kicked, and it was over a couple weeks ago. Again, we're not in the playoffs again, but this year is interesting for the NHL. This is the first time, I believe this is the first time ever that all 4 American Original 6 teams did not qualify for the playoffs, and both of the Canadian Original 6 teams have. So Blackhawks out, Red Wings out, Rangers out, Boston Bruins out. None of them made the playoffs. But the Maple Leafs and the Canadiens are in. And here's a little graphic here now. this is how the playoffs line up this year. Could this be the year, Dunbar? The number one seeds, both Canadian teams, Winnipeg Jets and the Toronto Maple Leafs, one of the original 6 we just talked about. I don't think Canada's won the cup since 96 or something like that. This is the first year the 4 original 6 American teams don't make it, and both number one seeds are Canadian teams. Is it just lining up for this to be the year?
Well, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news lately, but I do feel like Canada has a chip on its shoulder right now, and maybe for good cause.
They may.
Maybe there's a little bit of international pride happening on the Canadian side, and that'll fuel it. Look, man, I think it would be awesome to have a north of the border Stanley Cup. Like, I think it would be. Can that happen?
Yeah, Winnipeg could play Toronto. I mean, that could happen. It's not likely, and Vegas doesn't think so either. Neither one of these number one seeds are in the top 4 or 5 for odds to win the Stanley Cup. So there you go. They just don't think it's going to happen.
Look, we should all root for it, though. We should all root for it, right?
I'm wondering what the tariffs will be on the cup crossing the border so many times like that.
I won't pooch the next bit, but
all right, man. Well, listen, let's quickly. I know, right? Look. I'm going to be dialed into the NHL playoffs. I love it. There's nothing like a Game 7. It is the greatest thing. It's better than a Super Bowl game. A Game 7 in the NHL. There's nothing like it. It don't matter if you care about either one of the teams. Tune in and watch those guys spit their teeth out in the corner and claw and clutch and keep going. I mean, like, these guys give a shit, and that's why hockey's fun. It really is.
Yeah. For sure.
Let's touch on the Masters a little bit. You see the finish there for Rory?
Yeah.
This guy, so we got a hold of Rory's spirit animal as he tries to close out 3-foot putts time and time again to finally get this monkey off his back and win the Masters. Here's Rory's spirit animal. Oh, here we go. Look at, that's him trying to close out a 3-foot putt there, man. But it's gonna get worse, man. And moving on to the 18th here with the spirit animal here. This next shot is Rory on the 18th here. Just close it out with a 2-foot putt. And this shot is him in the clubhouse getting ready for extra holes. He didn't make it. He didn't make it. I mean, the poor guy. He won it though.
15 years, right?
Man.
Is that how many years?
Something like that.
That's crazy. Can you imagine? I mean, he's the what's her name? The woman who got nominated for all those Emmys, the soap opera lady.
The daytime soaps or whatever. Yeah, I don't remember her name. Yeah.
I'll look it up real quick. Who cares?
Yeah. I don't remember her name, but I can see her face, man. But yeah,
Susan Lucci, I think is her name.
Susan Lucci. That's it. You got it. It's Susan Lucci. Yeah, but you know what? He did it. Congratulations to him. He becomes one of only 6 dudes to capture the golf Grand Slam. He's won all 4 majors. That's finally the monkey's off his back. So congratulations to Rory, man. And now let's get to it, Dunbar. I'm wearing my shirt for you because just for the next month or 2, this is my new favorite college football team. I love how they handled Nico's overreach.
Well, college football, the Tennessee program in general, let's just take a bigger view here. The Tennessee program is the one that destroyed the NCAA. Their attorney general is the one that made the Nico deal happen. And now that we're in the NIL, they're the ones who are also now setting the bar for how teams are going to respond to players that do this type of holdout stuff. So in the grand timeline of college football, as a Tennessee fan, it's kind of weird to say, like, Tennessee has been pivotal in the last 10 years in terms of just the operation of college football. For good or for worse, they're around all of it. I mean, their attorney general sued the NCAA. So that's crazy. What happened with Nico, one, look, I listen to a lot of Tennessee sports media. One of the funniest things I heard
That's why you're here, buddy.
was a 12-year-old on the radio talking about Nico going, hell, I can hand off the ball as much as Nico can.
Oh
Like,
man,
that
that's
was
pretty funny.
that was the general feeling of it. But look, to go back, Nico was the highest ranked quarterback Tennessee has ever been able to recruit for their program. The highest ranked quarterback. They made an $8 million deal, $2 million a year, and he didn't even play for one of those years. He comes in this season as the golden child, right?
Sure.
Tennessee's got a good team. They're a top 20 team. In Heupel era, they're a top 20 team pretty much every year, guaranteed now.
Yeah, they're pretty competitive now.
And they also have the number one quarterback recruit committed to the team this year from 2026, starting in 2026. So
let's pause there for 1 second. Now, that to me rings a giant bell that your dad's an idiot and you don't understand the demographic of this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't see a quarterback in the NFL who just signed a deal hold out the very next year when his team's got the number one pick.
I mean, Mike, he didn't just hold out. He didn't just hold out the next year. According to reports, he tried to hold out before the Ohio State game.
Right. The playoff.
And he got a group of other athletes to try and do the same thing. So there's a culture. What are you doing? There's a culture there. Look, his dad, Nick that's what his dad goes by. They're getting bad advice. They have a lawyer with them. They have a quarterback coach who was at, I believe, Miami or Florida State, who was fired for inappropriate behavior, who is also advising them. They literally, look, Nico had a middling season last year. He was fine. He wasn't the reason why. He wasn't the reason why we lost or wasn't a higher seed. There were a couple of games where that Arkansas game or Oklahoma State game, there's rumors that he may have thrown that game. So, or gotten a few players to half-ass it. He certainly wasn't a great locker room guy, and there's conversations about his leadership. But he comes to Tennessee as the heir apparent, as the savior of the program, as the guy who's going to get them the championship, now almost 30 years later from 1998. And he is given everything. They went out and revamped their entire offensive line this offseason in recruitment. They have the number one left tackle recruit. They redid the whole line for him. They're at a dearth for wide receivers, but the whole point was they were going to go into the NIL.
You'll get those dime a dozen. Yeah. There's so many of them coming out of high school that are ready to play as freshmen now because of the way the game's played.
Yeah.
You'll get receivers.
Yeah, and they're going to go in the NIL, and they were going to get a wide receiver. He screwed himself because now the best school, the school that is in the best division possible for him, the best situation for him is UCLA. And I don't know if you looked at the news today. It doesn't look like UCLA is biting either.
Look like UCLA is out number one. Okay, number one. I am pulling for UCLA to get him. As a Big Ten guy, I'm telling you this right now. Take your Long Beach warm weather ass into the Big Ten with one of the shittiest football teams in the Big Ten and travel your ass to Wisconsin and Michigan and Michigan State and Ohio State. Hell, go into Purdue in November. You're going to get your ass whipped, my man, for less money than you're going to get at Tennessee.
So he goes from a Power 4 or Power 5 conference, right? I don't know what the names are. They always change to me. He goes from Power 4. He goes from the SEC, a top program, a playoff contender. He's probably going to win, I don't know. He's probably going to only lose a couple of games maybe next year, realistically, if he plays on that team. He was already slated to be a first-round draft pick after next season.
Yeah, he screwed himself.
Yeah, screwed himself.
You don't see, I know this is kind of a false equivalent, but just for playing field here, you don't see a lot of minor league baseball players that are a little better than average, maybe top of the pack, but not the best guys. You don't see them holding out before they're getting their shot at their major league money. Make no mistake about it. College football right now is the minor leagues. They're getting paid a lot better and there's more money in it. I get all that. But this is the minor leagues for the NFL. And for a kid like Nico, to be given a contract for $8 million over 4 years. Okay, so if he leaves after 3, he's got the $6 million. But like you just said, you're in position in one of the best conferences in the nation. It's the Big Ten SEC. It's what it is. You're in the best conference in the nation, some would argue. You're the starting quarterback. You just took your team to the playoffs. You're guaranteed that money, and you're guaranteed to be put on a platform to be a first-round draft pick in the NFL where you're going to get your real money. Just show up and play. And somehow you've got the idea that I'm going to hold out and hold you ransom for more money right now. Money that is irrelevant, I would argue really quickly here, Dunbar. Money that is irrelevant if you are who you say you are.
Well,
I think got $6 million on the table.
Yeah.
You end up being a first-round draft pick and a shot to be an NFL quarterback for a long time and to be good at it. Mm-hmm. All you need to do right now, and you've got no distractions because you've got the $6 million in your pocket. I'm saying if he leaves as a junior, you've got the $6 million in your pocket, no distractions. Go focus on being the best the best quarterback you can be, and get into that first round. You are completely set up for success, and you already have life-changing money, but you wanted $2 more million and you threw it all away.
He has every single throw. The guy has every bit of talent. Now, he's an adult, so I don't think it shouldn't fall on him, but he's got some really bad people around him. And people who don't understand.
Idiot.
So the rumors is that his dad was shopping him to Oregon and other programs, and then they went back to Tennessee, and that's when Tennessee shut the deal down.
They told him.
And then he didn't show up for camp. Now, if you think about it within the aspect of that, it's like that is a total clown show. That is quite literally people who don't know what they're doing, who think they know what they're doing. They're probably talking to Chat GPT about how to leverage their kid.
They think they're in the NFL.
Yeah, but think about Tennessee as a program. You know, it's not Alabama, it's not Notre Dame in terms of prestige, but it's in that second tier in terms of it's up there. It's in that tier of, you know, it would be up there with a lot of other programs. Sure. But when Tennessee is good, it is a national program. People pay attention to it. It's like in the NFL, if you're with the Packers or you're with the Giants or you're with the Cowboys, not always, the teams aren't always great, but when they are, everybody's talking about them. Tennessee is one of those programs. If he had come back, Tennessee isn't going to be bad. They're not going to be a bad team
next year. They could have built around him even better. Like you said, they built up the offensive line for him. They go get a wide receiver. They're going to be contenders again.
Even losing Dylan Sampson, they have a great running back room. Like the missing pieces is wide receiver. Their tight end room is awesome.
They were going to be fine.
They're going to be fine. They were going to contend for the SEC championship, and they were going to contend for a playoff spot with Nico in there. Now, I think part of the issue is looking at the NIL in the future. One, Congress is supposed to pass some kind of regulation on college football in general.
We'll see.
So I think they were looking at that. I think the other part of it too is that, like, you're dealing with a program in Tennessee, probably the greatest AD any Tennessee has ever had. They are in the playoffs in multiple sports. They made a run in basketball. They made a run in college baseball. Money is not an issue for this team.
No,
like
it's not.
They have to but they have to spread the wealth a little bit between other programs at the school. He was making $2 million.
You can't let it get like this. Is why the other schools got in contact with Tennessee, and they all got together and go, look, if we don't nip this in the bud right now, this shit is going to get ridiculous. And it needs to we need to put a stop to it. And this is absolutely watching what's happening in the NFL. And this is absolutely a kid like Nico looking at Carson Beck, who's probably washed up, getting $4 million from the Miami Hurricanes and going, if that dude's worth $4 million, then I'm worth this. And they're all taking the wrong example from guys in the NFL with guaranteed deals who have put guaranteed game tape out there and have played guaranteed pro football. They're looking at the wrong guys up there as an example of, well, then I need to be the highest paid guy at this position. They need to take a little page out of Tom Brady's book.
Yeah.
Especially in college. Be good and let them spend the money around you to make you look even better so that you get drafted higher. And that's how you create better gains, you know, better earning potential for yourself. Not like this.
So look, like a couple of other things about the whole situation. What's his name? Mick Slinger or Max Slinger or whatever his name is, who's the backup quarterback for Tennessee. He was a 4-star recruit. He's pretty dang good. And in the spring training, people were saying, I don't know, he looks kind of as good as Nico right now at this moment in development. You know, not a lot of the intangibles, but what does Nico do now? Nico, maybe he goes to UCLA. Does he get $2 million? Can he get back to where he was with Tennessee? I don't think so.
I don't think so. Tulane told him to take a hike, man.
Yeah. So he goes to UCLA and he plays a year and he maybe wins 3 or 4 games. That's the best option he has with UCLA, right?
Your draft stock just fell out of it on this whole thing.
He's got to transfer again.
Yep.
So he's got to be in college football another year.
Yep.
Look at what the NFL situation with the NFL teams are right now. This year, people aren't drafting a lot of quarterbacks in the first round. Next year, a lot of these teams are going to have to draft quarterbacks next year.
Yeah. Yeah. You could have been in a position of being a first-round pick next year in a good quarterback class. Yeah. And you really probably fucked yourself out of $100 million because Pops wanted an extra 2. I mean, that's the reality of it. You get drafted in that first round, you're getting a contract that's probably going to pay you north of $100 million over your first 5 years in the league. Probably more than that if he gets in the top 10. And you threw it all into garbage because Pops wanted an extra $2 million.
Now, there are rumors, and I think they're pretty small, which is like if his dad takes a back seat and Nico apologizes and the portal isn't working out for him, would he come back? Would Tennessee welcome him back if his dad wasn't in the picture?
They can't, Dunbar. They can't. You can't go to the podium and be like, we're not conducting business like this. We're moving on. And then be like, we'll take him back. He said sorry. You can't.
So Tennessee's going to take part of that $28 million that's allotted to them with the NIL. Obviously, some of it's going to other programs, but they're going to go get edge and they're going to go get a wide receiver because those are their holes. And they're probably going to they're going to be the top. They're going to be the prince of the ball in the princess of the ball in terms of the NIL, and they're going to take their time. I think that some of the people that have already committed, like all the rumors around that player going to North Carolina, they're all putting in feelers at Tennessee because that is a plug and play system. You have an offensive line. You have a great coach. You have an amazing atmosphere. You're going to get national. Talk about taking a player, repeating the Cam Ward scenario from last year, taking a player from a small market team and plopping him into a program that has a window right now. Like Tennessee's going to be fine.
They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine without him, and they knew it. And that's why they're like, take a hike. Because, listen, at the end of the day, it is about money and who you're going to get, and that's a sad thing that college football has turned into. But from a coaching perspective, I still got to have a guy that has the locker room if I want to win. I still got to have a guy that's a leader. I can't have a guy that we just told to take a hike, and now we're going to bring him back, and he's starting up coups in the locker room before playoff games. That guy can't come back. I can't have him here.
And he wasn't that great.
No. People were excited on holding out for that money.
So many overthrows, and the whole time you were like, he is going to be good. You see the things that are good about him. He has all the tangibles.
Yeah.
But he wasn't that great last year. It doesn't make any sense. Someone get those people away from him.
Oh, man. It's a bummer. And at the end of the day, like, we keep using his name and talking about him and like dragging him through the mud, but it's really just the situation we're labeling Nico, because I do feel sorry for him, and I feel sorry for the kid. He's a kid. You're not in charge of this kind of shit when you got an overpowering parent like that, and you have a bunch of assholes in your camp trying to snatch money, and they all want their slice of a pie that they didn't even buy one grocery to make. You know what I mean? Like, you're just going to do what you're told. This poor kid's caught up in this whole fucking mess now, and it's like, man, some of these parents are so stupid.
But would you pay $4 million for 19 touchdowns and 2,600 yards?
No. No, especially not in the SEC. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, we bump him up to $4 million. That ain't putting us in the SEC championship game. That's a waste of money.
Yeah, we need that money, quite honestly, to get the pieces they're demanding.
Yeah, it's a waste of money, man. Just he is the epitome of that old adage of the dog with the bone who sees his reflection in the river. You know what I mean? But in this case, it's more so, his owner's behind him on the leash yelling, bark and get that bone. Drops his bone in the water. Now you got nothing.
Yeah, I just imagine like his dad is some like Bitcoin bro who's on his phone all the time being like, I got this.
He's a complete idiot who is drunk on the what he perceives to be celebrity of being this kid's dad. And he thinks that he's some kind of rich, know how to create money type of dude now. And he's probably a fucking plumber. And that's no disrespect to plumbers, but I'm just saying, you ain't in this world. You don't understand deals and money and millions of dollars. And you're way out of your element, my man. And you think you belong in the room, and they clowned you right out of the room.
Yeah. LeVar Ball, man. At least LeVar Ball got his kids to the NBA.
Right. I mean, he did. At least he got him to the NBA, but some would argue too, those kids would be further along within their own careers if it weren't for him. Those fucking shoes tore up LaMelo's knee, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the other brother, but he said it was those shoes that fucked me up and gave me injuries my first year, man, because they were garbage.
Yeah. Like Nico, I think will be fine. He's going to maybe have to stay in college for another year, but he's going to make money doing it.
I don't. I think he's going to make a little bit of money in college because that's the name of the game now, but he already had a lot of money coming his way in college. Now he's going to make less, and he's going to have less opportunity, and he's going to get drafted lower, and he's going to go into training camps with less expectation and be given less opportunity. Let's be honest there. In the NFL, you're getting more opportunity in training camp when you're a higher pick and you're getting paid more money, because the guys that made that pick and gave you that money got to prove that you're worth it. When you come in as a 5th round pick and you don't have a lot of money, you're not going to get the reps in front of the guy that got drafted in the 2nd round. He's fucked himself big time right now. He may never recover from this, is the reality.
Yeah, that's true. But he did make $4 million. So he'll be fine.
Listen, that's life-changing money. It is. He made $4 million. He should be fine. He threw $100 million, pretty much guaranteed. $100 million guaranteed being a 1st round pick next year. Threw it in the garbage
because he hasn't shown anything.
Yeah,
he hasn't shown anything. Maybe he goes to maybe he goes to Liberty, and
I mean, what can they pay him? You know what I mean?
But he can show out playing those.
Yay! Where'd the last couple of show out Liberty quarterbacks wind up? I think Malik won a game last year up in Green Bay, but he's
against Tennessee.
Come on, man.
Yeah. But college football has to figure it out because it's killing the game.
Well, listen, I'm gonna cut it short here because we got other stuff we got to get to. But I am going to say this whole Congress and the government's going to put, I guess they're imagining they're going to put some kind of salary cap on this thing for these collectives and their NIL money and how much each team can spend. That is a bunch of bullshit. If they want to do something, they need to come down and say, no, NCAA, you need to be involved in revenue sharing. Some of the money you're making needs to be going to these players. And then I bet it starts getting policed as to who gets how much and who starts to do what. Even if you put salary caps on it, it's still wild, wild west.
Well,
the NCAA needs to come out some money.
Well, legally, it's got to be done through collective bargaining. So currently, I don't know if it's going to get fixed, and not to get political, but everything's political now. I don't think if anything's getting fixed in the next 4 years, because I don't think the administration nor Congress cares to get involved. And some of these states are right to work states. So you have to legally, they can't cap salaries or how much these kids get paid. And unless there's collective bargaining, unless there's something that looks like a union for these students. And I don't know how that looks or what that looks like, and
I'll tell you right now what it looks like. It looks like it's going to get done just as fast as a California speed train. I'll tell you that right now. Whatever that train from San Francisco to LA they started on 20 years ago, we'll have this done before that gets done.
I don't know. Do you want to be on a train during an earthquake?
Sure, I'd rather be on a plane. I'd rather be on a train doing anything, man. Anyway, listen, man, they're not going to fix this thing. It's fucked up, but there has been a line drawn in the sand. Now, if you agree to a deal, you're not backing out of it. And if you want to back out of it as a holdout, we're going to tell you to hit the road. And guess what you get? You didn't sign a contract. You don't get half of it because you showed up to training camp and shit. You ain't getting nickel one. So he ain't getting that $2 million.
No.
He's gone. That money's gone now.
As a Vols fan who is always genuinely hated for being one of the most annoying football programs and successful football programs of all time, people hate Rocky Top. People hate the orange. They can hate on it all they want, but right now we are the heroes of college football, and I'll take a snap to that.
Hey, man, that's not a sponsor. You can't do that on the show. Speaking of sponsors, man, let's get into quick hits. Oh, man, Gordon Butterfield is on the scene here with, Gordon Butterfield, minor league baseball Hall of Fame announcer. He's the man on What Just Happened, and we got ourselves a brand new What Just Happened ad for our brand new sponsor. Check it out, Gordon, and let's introduce him to the DWMOD world here.
What just happened? What Just Happened is brought to you by the Gold Dust Coffee Company. Wake up to a golden dust sunrise or the freshest Kenyan farm coffee beans you'll find in all your favorite flavors from espresso to vanilla. Oh, there's even hazelnut. Just scan the barcode and download the app, and you'll be well on your way to ordering the freshest coffee beans that Kenya has to offer. That's the Gold Dust Coffee Company, and don't forget to add your discount code DWMOD for 10% off. It's Gordon approved. Well, looks like old boy Jimmy Little took his Silverado pole dancing and got himself stuck in a predicament. He's clearly exceeded that 2-drink minimum, and you better figure out something quick. You don't want to get caught at a pole dance. It looks like he's just gonna let it rip and set her down. Ho-ho! Deployment! The airbag cut loose and that truck just spit his hat right out on the concrete. Ho-ho! Start to a truck. That bag exploded and that truck's a spitter. Ho-ho! What just happened?
And there it is. There we go, man. Just go ahead.
Hilarious.
Man. Use that code. Use that DWMOD code. Get your 10% off. Get yourself some delicious coffee like that. And Gordon, as always, man, he knows just how to call him.
Always.
Oh, he's hilarious, man. Louis, let's get going on some quick hits, brother. Okay, real quick hit, man. We missed it last week. We got to give a quick shout out to the NCAA Bracket Racket Tournament winner that we had here for the DWMOD podcast show. And I have to give major credit to the listener, Emily Sturba. And congratulations to her for coming in second place. Second place, because the winner of the Bracket Racket was this guy. You know the rules here, Dunbar. You have to beat the hosts if you want to win a prize. Fantasy football, we handed out some killer, authentic, stitched NFL throwback jerseys. We spared no expense. We hand the stuff out when people win. But if you don't beat the hosts, you don't get to boast. Maybe next year, Emily. Maybe next year.
It's like a Mar-a-Lago golf tournament.
No, we won this thing fair and square. Okay, buddy. Now I got something I want to run by you, Mar-a-Lago. I got something I want to run by you here now. I don't know if you've heard or not, but I know you remember starting lineups. Like we got a couple of here. There's an Isaiah Thomas. There's another one up here. Like you remember starting lineups when we were a kid. Big deal. They were a big deal.
Yeah, I was a Tops kid.
Okay. All right. But, you know, the figures were Kenner. You got the figures that came with the cards. We were big into them when they came out. Like they're sports action figures. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, they're coming back out with them. They've got a new line of them out. They're reintroducing these things, and these new ones look pretty good. You remember how bad the old ones used to look.
Yeah, the faces were all kind of melted looking, and
they weren't very good. So I want to take a look back at some of the original starting lineups, and we got to take a look at some of these faces and see exactly who they thought they were making. Like, what's the mold here? So let's
I
take
gotta
a look
guess. I gotta guess.
Oh, no, you won't have to guess. We're going to tell you, but let's take a look at this one here. Now, here's this first one here. Now, that's Grant Hill. Okay, there's Grant Hill. Now, let's zoom in on Grant's face here. Is that Grant Hill? Or is that Morris Chestnut? That's Morris Chestnut right there, I think. I don't, what is this? I got more of these things, man.
Crazy.
These are great. Here's another one, Louis. Keep them rolling here. Okay, here we go. We got Sean Kemp. Kemp. Look at Sean Kemp's face. That's Sean Kemp, or is that throw me the damn ball, Keyshawn Johnson? They put Keyshawn Johnson. They did this a lot. They would just use multiple heads for other figures. This is a good one. I love this one because we all know what Reggie Miller looks like. We all know what Reggie Miller looks like. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's Reggie Miller. This is the Reggie Miller starting lineup. Let's look at the close up on him here. Look at this face here. That's Richard Jefferson, man. That's Richard Jefferson.
Is like, what the fuck, man?
He wishes he was Reggie Miller. I'll tell you that. No disrespect to Richard, but come on, man. Now here's another one. This guy, iconic look. You'd know him if you saw him on the street. You know this guy, Hakeem Olajuwon. You know what Hakeem the Dream looks like. Now let's look at this close up of Hakeem's face here on his action figure.
What is this?
That's Bruce Smith. That's Bruce Smith right there, man. What?
Are you saying they just took heads off of other stars and were like, this is enough?
I think they did. They clearly did that on some, but on the others, they just didn't care. They just made it as generic as they could. And when they started putting the facial hair on and stuff, it just looked like other guys, man.
That's hilarious.
Now they did Grant Hill wrong twice. Here's a new one. They knew the first time, okay, we screwed that up, so we're gonna fix it. So here's another Grant Hill figure here.
Oh my God.
You're gonna zoom in on this Grant Hill look here. That's Steve Harvey. They put Grant Hill look like Steve Harvey here, man.
Oh my God.
It just gets better.
I'm looking at a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar one online, and I'm like, who the hell is that? Like, it doesn't look like him at all.
They're crazy. Now look at this one. This one has a different thing going on. Now this Charles Barkley. Look at the arms on that thing. If you snap the arms off and stood it next to the figure, his arms are bigger than the figure.
Yeah, what is up with that?
Look at the arms on that figure. Like, what is that? And is he getting a rebound or shooting a free throw? I don't even know what he's doing right.
It also looks like one arm is like way longer than the other arm.
Is this some kind of mashup with Kenner's superpowers or something? He's Elastic Man or something? I don't even know. And they did Dennis Rodman the same way. Now look at the arms on Dennis's figure here.
Who is that?
That's Dennis Rodman, but look, it gets better. It's not just the arms. Look at his face here. That's Mr. McDowell. It's James Evans Sr., man. They got Dennis Rodman out here looking like James Evans, man. That's bad, hilarious. Dude. And they screwed up the football ones too. I got two more of these things I had.
Please.
Here we go. This Kurt Warner. That is Super Bowl champ Kurt Warner. Look at this face on this guy. They got him out here looking like Charlie Batch. They got him out here looking like Charlie Batch. You know what I mean? Oh.
The fact that they have a Charlie Batch. Look, we got a Charlie Batch head. We really went all in on him. We got 2,000 Charlie Batch heads. We got to put them on somebody.
I mean, they couldn't look more different, those two guys. It's just so bad. And here's the last one. They did this Legend series here, and they did Bruce Jenner. And now they had the Legend. Now, Louis, that's not a great shot at seeing the face here, but they got Bruce Jenner looking like Caitlyn Jenner out here. That's the same person, isn't it, Louis? Yeah, that's the same. No, Louis, that's not. Yes, that's the same person, man. That's now he's trying to tell me in the headphones that he thought Caitlyn Jenner was one of the Kardashians that had transitioned. No, that's Bruce Jenner transitioned into Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
I should have checked these, man. Just don't do dumb shit like that. Anyway, the rest of those were dead on. This did remind me of one other thing that I was stuck on when I was a kid, buddy. Do you remember the movie Clash of the Titans?
Oh, yeah. The old one?
Oh yeah. You watched it 100 times. Percy.
A million times. It was on TV all the time.
Yeah, now you remember the bad guy in the movie, the king of the underworld, Calibos or whatever. He had been cursed, and we remember Calibos. Now there's Calibos right there from the movie. Now I'm telling you, when I was a kid, I was convinced, and my dad would never knew what I was talking about, and I'd be like, "Hey, that's the basketball player, man. They let him be in the movie. That's cool. He gave him a part in the movie. That's the guy for the Celtics." And he'd be like, "What are you talking about?" I always thought the Calibos was played by Robert Parrish, man. I always thought, look at that's Calibos. There's Robert Parrish. I thought that was Robert Parrish. When I was a kid, I swear to God, I was like, "That's the guy from the Celtics that the Pistons hate, man. That's Robert Parrish." I thought he got to be in the movie, man.
Very funny. That was fun. That was fun.
That's a fun little segment.
Well, it's like on Madden. You're playing Madden. You're like playing with your team, and you're going through your roster, and all of a sudden, their like CGI body comes up, and you're like, "That dude's white. That is not Traylon Burks." What are
they doing, man? I don't even get it, man. I don't. But anyways, man, that's the starting lineups of what they used to look like. All right, one last one in quick hits here, Dunbar. Now, last week we touched on something, and I don't even know if you'll believe this, but it was true. We had a little clip of John Cena taking a Stone Cold Stunner at a live Christmas show in front of some troops, the USO thing over in the Middle East somewhere. And it was like, I think it was like 2006 maybe or something like that, like early on in his career. And that is the one and only time that John Cena ever took a stunner from Stone Cold.
Really?
Can you believe that?
No.
That sounds crazy, right?
Well, I guess were they both faces? I mean, Stone Cold was kind of not super active after his big injury, right? So
yeah, but it wasn't like, I mean, at that time, those guys were all pretty big at the same time.
Yeah.
I found it like, wow, man, what? That didn't make sense to me. So
yeah.
I did a little digging, and I found another little Stone Cold stunner fact that you might find interesting. Now, I'm going to show you a picture here, and Stone Cold has stunnered 46% of the people in this photo. Look at that. 50% of the people in this photo. Look, we got Triple H, Stephanie, there's the McMahons, there's Shane, and there's Mr. McMahon and Mrs. McMahon, and there's Donald Trump. The only people that he stunnered Donald Trump. If you look closely here, you can see there's a picture of him stunnering Donald Trump right in the background there.
Amazing.
The only people in this photo that had not been stunned by Stone Cold was, I believe, Shane's wife and all the grandkids.
Let's get Stone Cold to run for president. Might as well.
Oh, good. Let's get him Stone Cold stunner Trump one time right now, man. Yeah. I just thought it was funny. What other president could you put in the room and everyone around him has been stunnered? Like, what the that's ridiculous.
Donald Trump is stunnering my 401k right now.
Oh, he beyond stunnered it, man. He put it to sleep. I need that fucker to wake up like Undertaker is what I need, man. All right, man, that's it for Quick Hits this week. Let's jump into Knock It Off before we get out of here, Dunbar. As you know, Knock It Off is always brought to us by the official beer choice of the DWMOD podcast, guys. That is Old English 800. We got hockey playoffs. We got the Pistons and the Knicks coming up this weekend. Pistons are going to take the Knicks out in 7. Mark my words. I'm telling you right now, Pistons in 7. And while I'm watching that, I'll be having myself some delicious Brass Monkey.
Brass Monkey, that funky monkey. Brass Monkey chunky.
Oh, yeah. Get you an Old English 800. Get you a splash of orange juice in that bad boy. We'll get rolling. We'll watch some playoff games and keep it moving. Now, let's jump into some Knock It Offs because we're going to dabble with a little more politics here for a minute, buddy. Just a little more politics.
All right, everyone. Time to do me a favor and knock it off.
Dunbar, I don't know if you saw, but the Ohio State Buckeyes went to the White House, I believe, as a team normally does when they win the national championship. And the new vice president is an Ohio hillbilly himself, claims he is an Ohio hillbilly. That's not my term. That's his terminology. So, of course, he was at the front of this thing, and here's how he handled the national championship trophy in a fashion only J.D. Vance could do. Here we go. He's going to take a look at this thing. Look, he's confused about it. He doesn't know what it is. He's going to then try to pick it up, and oh, shit. He broke the trophy. JD Vance can't lift up a trophy. He broke it. I mean, look how confused he is right now. And then they're like, let me just hold that part. Quit. They had to make it dumbed down for him. Just hold that part. Look at his face. Oh, only this guy could do that.
Yeah.
He is
I definitely don't
man.
think he'd mishandle a couch the way he mishandled that trophy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, one, I'm a real hillbilly. Like, I grew up in the hills of Tennessee. Like, I know what it, like, that guy is not of my people. But I think that, he, like, what a buffoon, dude. And why wasn't Trump there to meet them? Why did they trot out the least likable guy in the entire administration?
I think Trump was probably golfing, and JD Vance probably wanted to do it for his people in Ohio, and then he broke the fucking trophy. I mean, he's just. There was another video, but I couldn't find really good quality of it. It was a little bit grainy, and I wasn't sure about it. But it was him just screaming at Ryan Day. Have you said thank you once? Have you said thank you once since you've been here today? And Ryan Day was like, "What are you talking about? What am I saying thank you for?"
Well, we all know that Donald Trump isn't meeting with people unless they pay him $5 million up front for candlelight dinners in Mar-a-Lago. Like, that's the scam right now, right? He's using the He's like, look, Bezos, I'll meet with you to talk about these tariffs, but you got to pay me $500 because you got to pay for the meal at Mar-a-Lago, and that's how much it costs. So they, maybe Ohio State was like, oof, we can't afford that. We're gonna have to go with, Bobo Trump, off-brand Trump.
They got to save that money for their holdouts that are coming up,
All right, everyone, time to do me a favor and knock it off.
Okay, this is a fun little story. Topps trading cards. You say you were a Topps guy. Topps taking a page out of the Panini playbook here. This has just been exposed. Now, recently, a Shohei Ohtani card that contained a piece of his jersey from the 50-50 season, the magical season last year, 50-50. It had a piece of his jersey in it, and it sold at auction for $1.5 million. Okay. 1 of 1 or something like that. I don't know what it was. But come to find out, in the fine print from Topps, you can see this, and people have been tearing these cards apart on the internet to show it. When you get a relic card, now sometimes it has a piece of a bat or a base in it, right? Now, of course, we would all understand, like, it's not the bat from the game and it's not the base from a game. These are just pieces of a bat that you would assume belong to the guy or a base from that stadium. But these pieces of jersey, along with these bats and bases, do not have to be from that player. So people are tearing open these cards. Like, let's say you get a Shohei Ohtani card with a piece of jersey in it this year that's just like not a 50-50 one, but just a Shohei with a piece of jersey, game-worn jersey. They can rip it open, and you can find out quickly that it was not his jersey, because in order to avoid any legal, bait and switch type of stuff, they do have to label the jersey as to what it is. And somebody ripped one open online, and it was a piece of Max Muncy's jersey from a game against the Pirates in the 3rd game of the season or something, but it's a Dodgers jersey.
How did they figure that out?
Somebody got into reading that small print and then ripping these things open. And like, the base will have to say where it's from. The piece of jersey will have to say like who wore it. In some cases, it's not even the same player's jersey.
So how much? So they're ripping open $1 million cards?
No. This one Shohei card sold for that much. You can buy a little box of Topps right now, and you could get like a Detroit Tigers. Like, I could get a Tariq Skubal jersey card, and there's plenty of them. I mean, it might be worth $25. So they're opening up these.
Do the cards have are they plastic and you can crack them open, or are they?
No, they're like they're like a super thick cardboard so that they can place. It's like if you had like 5 cards stacked together, it's like that thick, so that they can put a piece of jersey in there and then glue it together, and the jersey's in the card. And I actually have a Tennessee T. Higgins one from his rookie year in the NFL. But anyway, like, some of these things, unless you get a really rare one, they're not worth millions of dollars. So people are tearing these $25, $30 ones open and going, yeah, this is bullshit. Some of these don't even belong to what you're claiming they belong to.
Yeah.
And Panini,
I mean, where are they making these cards? Are they making them in the United States, or are they, are these cards getting tariffed?
Yeah, these cards are definitely getting tariffed. They're getting ripped apart, so you can see what the hell's on the inside of it, man. It's just like, come on, man. Like, how far do you go to just get over? Like, you don't need to put them in there that much. I don't know. This whole thing is just knock it off.
It seems like another gimmick that they use to try and get people to pay a lot of money for these cards.
Yeah.
And, and
it's been exposed.
All right, everyone. Time to do me a favor and knock it off.
Okay, here's our last knock it off of the week. Let's get into this really quickly. The Colorado Buffaloes have announced that they will be retiring the jersey of Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. No one will wear those numbers ever again. Now, I say this, and I would say we probably agree. You want to retire the jersey number of a guy that won the Heisman Trophy? By all means. By all means, your program should probably do that. It's a rare thing, especially at a school like Colorado. Rare thing. Go ahead and do it. You're retiring Shedeur Sanders' number? Did this guy even have a winning record in the 2 years he was there? Went to one bowl game and got his ass beat by BYU.
Yeah. Now, I'm doing a little research here. They only have, without those two, they've only retired, I believe, 4 numbers.
Let me see if I can guess a couple.
Okay.
Let me see if I can guess a couple. I'm going to say Rashaan Salam. He won the Heisman.
Yeah.
Eric Bieniemy?
No.
Maybe that quarterback from that national championship team that died, and then they won the national championship. He was really, really good, and he got sick and died. Is he one of them?
Not Bobby Anderson. Bobby Anderson, they retired. He's an old guy. Byron White, maybe, is who you're thinking of?
No, that's not it either. So they probably didn't retire his either then.
Yeah.
And Cordell Stewart? No, Cordell Stewart ain't.
Cordell Stewart isn't even. And you know what? Cordell Stewart is not a terrible comp for Shedeur Sanders in some ways, but like
he's better.
Yeah. I mean, but
he's
more
of a Travis Hunter comparable. He's a multi-talented player across different positions.
Exactly. But I think that, like, he had 4,000 yards, 37 touchdowns, something like that last year. Against a bad offensive line? No, I think it's PR.
How many yards did he have in his career? 7,500 probably.
Oh, maybe I don't know. I have to check.
Here's a fun trivia question. Did Ty Detmer throw for more yards in one season than Shedeur Sanders threw for in his career? I'd say yes.
What do you mean by his career? Because are you considering
the 2 years he played at Colorado?
The 2 years he played at Colorado, he threw for 7,300-ish yards.
How close was I? Okay.
Yeah.
I think Ty Detmer's record-breaking season at BYU, I think he threw for like 6,800 or maybe 7,100 or something like that. I don't know.
But his whole college career is 14,000 yards, 134 touchdowns. But I agree with you. It's
what? 334 touchdowns?
No, sorry, 134 touchdowns.
Okay, so that's all the Jackson State numbers too.
That's the Jackson State numbers. But, like...
No, that's not a retire your number.
I don't think you retire his jersey. Look, I think it's a PR stunt ahead of the draft, honestly.
Of course it is.
But, Dion is your head coach. You want to keep him happy, right?
But you wonder why people have trouble rooting for a kid like that who, not only the fact that it's nepotism and he's born on third base and been handed everything his whole life. He's got to work a little bit for it, but not as much as any other kid. But his whole attitude toward the whole thing is that it's deserved and shit. And it's just like, you wonder why people are like, no, I'm not interested in this, man.
Do you think he's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL?
If he lands with the right team. If he lands with the right team, I think he has some measurables that can be efficient in the NFL. Do I think he's going to be a star in the league? No. Do I think he can be a team that a quarterback that could limit mistakes and carry a team to some wins? Sure. Do I think he's a first-round pick quarterback? No fucking way.
Yeah.
I don't think any of these guys are. I don't think there's one quarterback in the draft this year I'd spend a first-round pick on.
I'm getting convinced on Cam Ward. I am. I've watched a lot of his tape. He has some special abilities as a player.
that don't translate to the NFL. Are we tired of this experiment yet, Dunbar, where every year we're like, this is a guy who can run around and make plays like the playground, and then we see the NFL and there's two guys in the NFL that can run around and make plays like a playground. The other shit don't translate because the athletes are better.
I think that the improvisation is different. Like, he's not like Shedeur, like running for his life back there and then chucking the ball up. Like, he is staying on his feet. I think that it's a combination of that and a combination of his. I mean, obviously, I'm a Titans fan, so I'm glowing myself up.
We're going to see when it's not against Boston College and Georgia Tech, and we're going to see in the NFL, and you're going to see that there has been better athletes that are better quarterbacks that did not have success. I'm not sold on guys like that. I wouldn't pick them.
I think it's more his temperament. I think his attitude and temperament. He's got a lot of the throws. He's got great deep ball accuracy.
Malik Willis crossbody 70 yards
Malik Willis
into the end zone.
No, dude. No,
Malik Willis got bumped
you can't compare
into the second
two of
round
them
off one throw on a video.
No, you can't. But it's not one throw with him. It's his whole body of work last season.
Right.
Like,
you're the Titans guy. If you want that guy and you think he's the answer to turn your team around, I wish you luck. And I like him personally. I don't dislike Cam Ward like I don't like Shedeur Sanders.
I
wish him well.
He's got a lot of air. He's got a lot of Steve McNair in him. Honestly, if you watch,
I wouldn't pick him.
What are the Titans gonna do? They're gonna take
around
Carter
another year and go get Arch next year, maybe, or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
who else will he'll even turn into, though? I'm just throwing a name out there, but I'm just saying this is not a good quarterback class.
No, but I don't think Cam Ward would be a second round pick in a different last year. I don't think Cam Ward would be a second round pick. I think he'd go somewhere after Jalen Daniels, like middle first round.
No, I think he would have been second round for sure last year. I think for sure. Yeah. We're basing all this off of one season at Miami. He had an okay year at Washington State, transferred to Miami and played really well in games he had to try to win 65-54.
But if the organization at Tennessee thinks Cam Ward could be the guy, they have to pull the trigger on the guy.
That's what they think. That's probably why they're where they're at right now. I just wouldn't do that.
Thank you for that.
For me, digression. You've heard me say this a million times on this show before, and especially with a guy like Cam Ward. He is not a special quarterback talent. He is a kid that could be good in the league in the right situation. And if you want to draft that kid to be your guy, you better have a team that's already ready to go. You better have built it like the Lions. We got our O-line, D-line together. We got our backs. We got our receivers. We got the secondary squared up. Now give me a quarterback. And that ain't the Titans.
We're going to find out, but I don't totally agree with your assessment of Cam Ward's abilities as a special player. If you watch the tape, there are clearly intangibles about him that make him a special player on the college level. Will that translate to the pros? I don't know. Okay. But we're not talking Johnny Manziel.
You think he's going to be a Jaden Daniels, like a kid that could come into a terrible team and take him to the playoffs in the first year just by how good he is?
No, I don't think he needs to be a Jalen Daniels. But I think that he is like a lot of these prospects from the prospect level, he does have a lot of the same pieces that a lot of the quarterbacks last year that got drafted at a high level. I think he's Bo Nix, definitely. I think he can come in and be like Bo Nix next year.
Maybe, Bo Nix, but again, you better land in a system. Choice. You better land in a system that's ready for you, like Bo Nix or Denver had everything else in place.
Well, they shored up their offensive line this offseason, and maybe there's some left tackle issues now that they've moved Latham to left tackle, but they've shored up some O-line stuff. It's wide receiver is the real problem for them. Obviously they need edge, but I would love them to move back into the first round and pick up a wide receiver, especially if
move back. If you're the
Missouri
Titans, if I'm a Titans fan right now, I'm going, I don't want to be the team that's drafting a new quarterback number 1 or 2 every third year. No,
but no one will wait
till you're ready.
But no one will move back. No one's going to offer them enough. If no one wants him enough.
That's so tough to be stuck in that spot where you have to take a guy that probably isn't going to work out just because you have to. Ugh.
Yeah, but I think he has the ability to be better than Caleb Williams. Like
I don't see that.
I think he's got a lot of the pieces that Caleb in way better processing than Caleb Williams does. Like way better processing at the college level than Caleb Williams. Absolutely.
I think they're kind of a comparable player, and Caleb Williams has way more quarterback ability.
So see, we're talking about first round talent. Like, I think that the one thing that is really clear at the top line of assessment on Cam Ward is he has ice in his veins. He is unfazed. That is the thing that people talk about.
He's not Miami, where you got beat by bad teams and didn't even get in the playoffs. I don't see it. I see this as a
but did you watch those come from behind wins that he had too?
I did watch some of those come from behind wins where you absolutely stunk the first 2 quarters to inferior teams, and then your defense created a couple turnovers and you got some extra possessions and you played really well and come back and win the game. But these were bad teams, man. The ACC's bad.
Look, if Tennessee could trade back and later into the first round and I guess sign Aaron Rodgers, like I would be fine with that. I think the coaching staff is like, we don't want to get fired. I think the GM and everybody are, Giants are in a similar situation. I don't think Brian Callahan was a bad coach last year. I don't think he was a bad play caller last year. I think he did okay. I think he had a bad quarterback.
I think
that
Levis, 1 year. You gave the kid 1 fucking year. I give him another year, man. Don't blow pick it.
I would run it back with. I would run it back with
kid from Penn State and run it back with Levis and get a quarterback next year. Take the sure thing. Take the kid from Penn State.
Well, he's hurt. He didn't do a tryout.
He'll be fine.
So that's the other thing. I would much rather than be in a situation where they can trade back into like 10 or 11.
Yeah,
they could, and get 2 first rounds, get a pick swap this year and another first, maybe a 4th or 5th.
But the reason that they can't do that tells you everything about what the league really thinks about Cam Ward. Because if the league really thought this kid was special, somebody'd move up.
Yeah, but I think there's enough question marks about what side of the coin are you going to land on with him, that it being in the position you're in as Tennessee, you don't know when you're going to be back here again. Hopefully not for a long time. And I think you got to make the call,
Fair enough point you make that these GMs are more scared of what they don't take than what they're going to take. They're scared that if someone else gets him and he winds up being really good, they missed out on it, which is the wrong way to draft. It's the wrong way to draft. But,
well, they're trying to put themselves in a situation where they can draft for need, but they've been put in a pretty tough spot. They only have 2 picks in the top 100 this year. Yeah, and they're probably going to trade back on the second. I'm not opposed to them trading up in the first for the wide receiver from Missouri. I can't remember his name.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think that, I think that would be interesting. I think honestly, where the interesting stuff in the draft is happening at 3, 4, and 5. Like, what is going to
be interesting? We're going to jump into that next week draft special. We're going to have our annual DWMOD draft special. Now, let's jump on that real quick, and then we'll move on out of here on a quick statement for All Right Bet. The last 3 years in a row, based on our scoring system, I have beat Mel Kiper in the draft, picking the first round. That is right. And I'm going to do it again, Mel. I'm going to beat you again, Mel, because I don't have people breathing down my neck on who I need to say is good or not. I don't have money in my pockets telling me, hey, we need you to keep saying Cam Ward, buddy, if you would. I don't have that, so I can say what I really think.
Who wants Tennessee to draft Cam Ward outside of people in Tennessee? Like, did you see the live stream that he did on YouTube where he basically was like talking as if he was already drafted by Tennessee?
Yeah, he said Ridley's the best receiver in the league, and he knows what's going on.
He said Traylon Burks. Someone was like, "Hey, who do you think is the best wide receivers in the league?" He was like, Calvin Ridley. Traylon Burks will be a top 4 wide receiver next year.
Yeah, right. He knows where he's winding up. He knows where the talks are. He knows about it. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you being on the show. Love having you on when we're talking Tennessee. Those things are important. You're always my go-to guy from that area. Guys, if you're not tuning into us on social media every single day, it is baseball season. Here's your reminder. Thousands of views a day on these damn things last year. Every single day, I'm dropping you 5 to 6 baseball teams to bet on, and I'm telling you exactly how to bet on them. Tune in, check them out. So far this season right now, we are 60-41. We are 20 games over 500. We are handing out money every day. Just yesterday, we went 5-2. Pick your parlays, get paid. We're making money. Tune in. That's DWMOD Pod, wherever you're social media. Get your picks, like, share, follow. We're handing out that money for All Right Bet. And Dunbar, thanks for being here, buddy. We'll see you next time. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for exactly that, buddy. Ready? College football is now B1G versus SEC. Down. If you ain't listening to All Right Bet with me and Andy St.Clair, you're throwing away money. Ready? All Lions fans drinking that Kool-Aid. Super Bowl. Hey, disagree with me or don't. That's how it works.